Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna be talking about volume imbalances today, and volume imbalances are kind of a concept I didn't really get familiar with until probably a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I kind of brushed through them in the ICT mentorship, so I didn't really at them that much. And I know a lot of people get confused by them sometimes, but I'm gonna show you how I use volume imbalances and how you can use them too. So what's a volume imbalance? Well, if I draw a wick right here, and let's say this is the candle, draw another wick, a volume imbalance will be something like this, to where the close of this candle does not overlap the open of this candle, okay? And what do I mean by that? Well, that basically means that this is a volume imbalance because you can kind of see this gap between the opening of the candle and the close of the candle. So like look at this, for example. See how there's no gaps here? This is close, but this isn't a gap. See how the close of this is over the open of this? That means there's no kind of space there. But look right here, we have a tiny imbalance here, okay? And you can see, look what happens. We go up to it on this wick right here, and then boom, we just reject it. So I really like these volume imbalances for, you can use them as support and resistance. You can use them on the daily. I like to use them on the daily because it kind of gives me a bias. So often if I see like in this example here, okay, look, we have a volume imbalance right here. It served as support multiple times, okay, but usually these volume imbalances get filled, okay. So I was expecting us to have a candle close through this, and that's how they get filled. They don't get filled when the wick goes through. They get filled when there's a full candle close through it. So we finally got the fill yesterday. This candle closed below it, so that does not leave a leftover volume imbalance anymore. But again, we're still on. I have to change my fibs real quick. We still never hit discount, okay? On yes, we never got even close to discount yet. So I'm still bearish, and we are rejecting this giant SIBI, which ICT talked about on his Twitter. But yeah, this is definitely something you should pay attention to. Volume imbalances is really good. They usually get filled on the daily, and it's a really good way to determine bias. So like right here, this is CPI obviously, so let's just dump through it. But there's a volume imbalance stuff right there. There's a volume imbalance right there, and we were in a fair value gap at the time. Okay, so when we had the CPI, I was pretty bearish just for those reasons. And let's say CPI was good, okay? Let's say we went up and filled this volume imbalance. Well, I still would have been bearish for the future because there was two giant wide open leftover gaps there. So it just kind of shows you that these will eventually get filled. And if you look at the daily, most of them do get filled. Like this was filled right here. This was filled right here. And you can even see like it serves as a pointer, like support and resistance. And what I like to do is I don't use them as support and resistance on daily. I'll just kind of draw them in, and what I'll do is I'll go to like the 5 minute, and I'll know that this is a volume imbalance. So I think we get the volume imbalance. This is Thursday, so we get the volume imbalance right here, okay, and let me just go back to the daily and verify real quick. I'm going to draw a line so I kind of know where it is. I'm not sure how it got way over here, but so so this is where we formed the volume imbalance right there. So I'm going to go to the 5 minute and look for that same line. Okay, so we formed the volume imbalance about this day right here, okay? And you can see on the 5 minute, you will look for setups out of this. So obviously, like you would look for long and short setups. So in this situation, look, you would look for a short setup here, and you want to just take puts, or you want to just short right there. You look for a short setup off of it. So as you can see, we get this. We pump a little bit. We reject this fair value gap, but that's still not a short setup. Why? Because you need a fair value gap. You need a market structure shift. We don't have a market structure shift yet. And then boom, market structure shift, we go below these lows, and then that's when you'd short. So I use these as like kind of lower time frame setups, and I kind of look at the zone, and look, even right here, you wouldn't just randomly take calls in this, or you wouldn't randomly long this. You'd wait for a long setup. And here's a long setup right here. And it's probably cleaner in the 1 minute, but I don't want to go in the 1 minute right now. And obviously it never hit the stop. This was consumer data. I remember this day I longed here. So I did take this long. I got stopped because my stop was too tight, but the true ICT stop loss under the low never actually hit. So that was obviously my fault. But again, you look for long setup. So even right here, long setup off of this, you would take this knowing that we're in a volume imbalance. Next time you come down here, you wouldn't just randomly long this. Yes, it would have worked, but you want to wait for a long setup. And by the looks of this, it doesn't really look like we have a clear long setup at all, so I probably wouldn't have taken that. I guess you can consider this one, but again, that's not really true. That's not a good setup. I wouldn't really take this. It was also at 8 o'clock at night, so again, right here, I'll go to the 1 minute, look for a long setup here when we get back to it. And every time you go back to this, I kind of look for long setups. And let's say we don't get any. Let's say we break through it, and let's say we break through it down here. Then you look for a short setup. So you wouldn't look for a short setup here because technically we're still in it, but we do get a really nice short setup right here, which works out well. But then when you see us coming right here, this is when you look for a short setup. We hit the zone, you look for a market structure shift, then boom, you look for a short setup. So obviously, this has been a pretty big point of resistance, as you can tell. So yeah, so this is definitely very important to watch these volume imbalances. I use them to kind of determine my my bias on the daily. So if anyone has any questions, just hit me up on my Discord. I'm usually sitting there all day and can answer questions for you guys. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, peace.